This is the News 4 Rundown.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the News 4 Rundown. I'm Mauricio Casillas. It's Wednesday, January 28th. We're halfway through the work week, and last weekend's snowstorm continues to hamper all types of travel and keep kids out of the classroom. Remnants of the storm are still sitting on top of many people's cars. Take a look at what we saw today in Tenleytown. Tonight we'll talk about why it's so dangerous to leave snow and ice on your vehicle. The rest of that snow, however, crews have been plowing into these giant mounds, trying to clear up space for drivers and pedestrians. The preferred mode of transportation for these little ones these last few days has been the sled. We've already seen dozens of children racing down the biggest hills they can find, but how much longer will they have before it's time for homework? And tonight, several of our region's biggest school districts have called off classes for tomorrow, but others will be welcoming students back tomorrow after a 2-hour delay. They're right there on your screen. You can also find the closings and delays scrolling at the bottom of your screen. This all comes as we could be bracing for more snow. Storm Team 4 is tracking another system headed up the coast. Chief Meteorologist Doug Kammerer will let us know how much it could bring and if we need to be worried or not. But we want to start tonight in the district, where officials say most of the roads are passable, but the sidewalks are a different story. News 4's Mark Seagraves has the latest on conditions in the city and some good news for residents and businesses who are struggling to clean up the mess.
Since Sunday's storm that pounded D.C. with not just several inches of snow, but about 3 additional inches of ice, combined with below freezing temperatures, this has become a very common scene. People walking in the road because the sidewalks are covered with ice.
Yeah, it's dangerous. I have to walk on the street, or if I run across the street, it's slippery and I'm afraid to fall and hurt myself.
And even where the sidewalks are cleared, the plowed snow and ice from the streets has piled up in the curb lanes, creating concrete-like frozen barriers for bus passengers to climb over.
I feel it's ridiculous. I was hoping to get to the office, which is downtown, but after 10 minutes walking on this, I was like, this is not safe. It's going to take me an hour to get there. So I'm returning back home and working from home because this is not acceptable. So I don't know how in all these years they still haven't figured out how to clean it up, like in a speedy manner.
And sidewalks aren't the only places made impassable by the thick frozen terrain. Alleys like this one in Northeast have residents stranded.
So currently we are obviously stuck. We can't get out. It is solid rock. I know they don't clear alleys, but they can see that a lot of people need help. And this is like a task that's very arduous that we're not going to be able to do on our own. So if they can have somebody at least run through it, at least break up the ice, it'll be very helpful for us, for at least us to get out of the alleyway.
Chris Rodriguez, Assistant City Administrator, tells News 4 city crews are focused on the roads right now.
We are continuing to work 24/7 and we'll do so until the end of this event. And right now, one of the challenges that we're having is as we're plowing, some of that snow is piling up. So we're asking for residents to be patient. The first thing they can do is call 311, and residents should also know that over the last 36 hours, we've really gotten smaller plows called bobcats that are going to be going through residential areas in those narrow streets to make sure that they're clear.
D.C. law requires able-bodied residents and businesses to clear their own sidewalks. Inspectors were out yesterday issuing fines, but Rodriguez tells News 4 enforcement has now been suspended.
We realize, though, given the challenges, the unique challenges we face with this storm, which is really the worst in a decade, we are going to be waiving those fines and no longer enforcing, because we understand we also have to give businesses some time and some time for the snow to melt, as well as we're still in a very in a situation where we have freezing temperatures.
That was Mark Seagraves reporting. You know, for so many drivers, today was the first day they actually attempted to drive out in this weather, and the snow, ice, and freezing temperatures did not make things easy. News 4's transportation reporter Adam Tuss is on road patrol tonight in Northern Virginia.
All right, yeah, well, here we are on Gallows Road in Northern Virginia, and take a look at the drive cam here. You can see the conditions that we're dealing with. The main road is good, but take a look off to the right, and these snow banks, these snow piles that kind of come out of nowhere, cut the lanes down, and you have to be super careful, super aware as you drive around. I know so many people who are getting out and about for the first time today. It is not a normal drive. Huge, heaping snow piles that are nearly impossible to see around. And on the other side, drivers who can't see you. It's a recipe for trouble.
Yeah, I mean, fewer turn lanes, a little more difficult going around corners.
How about lanes on the roads and highways that just disappear out of nowhere, sometimes sending you into another lane before you know it?
Yeah, not fun. It's kind of hard to figure out where to go. I wonder if there's been more accidents because of it.
Well, this is a good one. The classic two-car standoff. I'll narrate it for you. You go backwards. Okay, keep going. I'm going forward. Keep going backwards. Back up, thank you. Other drivers trying to inch around their fellow vehicles as best they can. A runner on Rock Creek Parkway. Not the trail, the actual parkway. Lots and lots and lots and lots of people trying to trek across the snow and ice on foot. Some are taking all of this in stride, though. Orlando is from Bolivia in South America, and he's never seen this.
You like the snow?
Yeah.
Tell me why.
I like, for example, it's my first time in the snow in my country, never in the life.
Willow giving credit where credit is due to her husband.
It took my husband almost 2 days to shovel out our steep driveway. It was about 4 inches of ice on top of a couple of inches of compacted snow. He had to hack it first and then shovel it. Yes. Am I over it? Well, not as much as he is, but yes.
Well, sir, we salute you. Just remember, if you are headed out for a drive for the first time, it is not a typical traffic pattern on the roads. Yeah, I'm back here now as you see Gallows Road in Northern Virginia, the cars that are trying to make their way around through these snow piles. Again, just give yourself plenty of extra time, especially if this is the first time that you've been out in this storm. On Storm Team 4x4 Road Patrol, Adam Tuss, back to you.
All right, Adam, good advice. Thanks so much. You know, something to be mindful of before you hit the road, make sure you clear off the roof of your car. You know, Doug, we've been telling folks about this. You've been telling folks about this, and it's important. You're not doing it. You're not saying it to be a buzzkill. It is so important before you hit the road.
And I know for some people it may be hard to reach the top of your roof, but it really is so important, especially right now, because we've got that layer of snow on there, and then you've got a layer of ice on top of that. What happens is when that layer of snow, because of the fact you're going pretty fast, that snow starts to get out of there. Look what happens here. Watch that big layer of ice come off this Jeep. Now you notice is, we'll show it again, that guy to the right has the pause. Now watch the guy behind him. That guy's trying to go around that piece of ice. So if this happens to you, I mean, I've seen multiple windshields that have been broken as a result of this. There have been deaths as a result of this as well. And this is really something you want to think about. So please try to get the snow off the top of the car. It really is something that we need to do. And in many states, it's against the law to keep that there.
Yeah, 11 states, in fact, are required by law to remove snow from the top of your car. It's not a law in our region, but these laws are passed for a reason because horrible things happen. We don't want to see that happen.
And it was passed in Pennsylvania as a result of an accident that happened on the Blue Route up there where a semi-truck had that on top, came off, went right through a windshield of a car, and it did not end well. So that's why those laws are on the books. So please make sure you do that, especially because so many of us are getting out for the first time.
Yeah. All right.
Yep. See you back here in a minute. We're talking about a coastal blizzard in minutes.
All right, we'll check that out soon. Be sure to download the NBC Washington app because this stretch of cold weather continues. You can scan that QR code right there on your screen or check your app store. There you can see Storm Team 4's latest forecast and get those breaking weather alerts sent right to your phone. All right, turning now to the Au Pair Affair double murder trial in Fairfax County. Accused killer Brendan Banfield took the stand today for about 90 minutes to testify in his own defense. He'll be back on the stand tomorrow. He is accused of killing his wife and another man back in 2023. He detailed he and his wife's relationship and how his affair with the family's au pair began. Banfield also revealed he had affairs previously and claimed his wife had affairs too. Later, he testified that there was no plan that he was involved in to kill his wife.
I think that it's an absurd line of questioning for something that is not serious, that a plan was made to get rid of my wife. That is absolutely crazy.
NBC News legal analyst Kristen Gibbons-Fieden broke down the beginning of Banfield's testimony. She explains what she would do if she was prosecutor in this case on cross-examination.
I'm going to go after him about his nonchalant statement about, oh, I had many affairs. This was just one of many. I would never want to leave my wife, let alone kill her. I'm going to go after him with that, and I am going to cross-examine him on the red lingerie that moved from her closet to the next. I'm going to cross-examine him on how he made, in his testimony, it seemed like it was Juliana who wanted to be part of him. It was Juliana who's looking at dating websites and only looking at his name and so attracted to him. I am going to utilize all of that against him to make it very clear that he was the mastermind.
And a reminder that we are streaming the trial live on YouTube and on our website, NBCWashington.com. Tomorrow, tune in to a specially weekly recap at 7:30 p.m. with Erica Gonzalez and Drew Wilder right here on NBC4. We'll be right back. We are a year into President Trump's second term in office, and one of the winning messages of his most recent campaign was to assure voters he would crack down on illegal immigration and lower inflation. But polls show many Americans aren't happy with the job he's done so far, leading many to believe that Republicans could face an uphill battle as they try to hold their ground in this year's midterm elections. Joining us now to discuss the impacts of the Trump administration's agenda is Reuters U.S. politics correspondent Bo Erickson. Bo, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
So, Bo, tell us a little bit about what recent polls are saying about the White House's handling of those two key issues, immigration and inflation.
Yeah, you're right. The Republicans, some in the White House and some strategists and some people close to the White House, they are concerned that the president's signature issue of immigration enforcement is quickly becoming a liability. Just to put a fine point on those numbers, when President Trump started his second term last year, our Reuters polling showed that he had a 50% approval on immigration. Now the number just a few days ago is at 39%. So that number has really gone down. So this is causing both Republican officials inside the White House and those far from D.C. to kind of raise alarms and saying there needs to be recalibration here on this immigration front in order to keep it in the win column.
Yeah, let's talk about that. We've seen some Republicans opposing the president on his administration's use of ICE agents in cities across the country, particularly in Minneapolis. Do you think we're starting to see some cracks in the MAGA coalition, or do you think maybe lawmakers are protecting themselves ahead of election season?
I don't know if there are cracks yet, but there are definitely two camps of Republicans coming with criticism to the White House about the immigration enforcement. That first camp is kind of the more hardline Republicans. I was talking to a former congressman in Minnesota, and he was actually saying that the White House needs to be more honest about its immigration approach because it is going beyond kind of the worst of the worst. That's what the White House is saying that the operation is. He's saying that the White House should be more honest in saying that the immigration operation is going beyond those specific criminals. On the other camp of Republicans who are concerned is people who are looking towards more of those swing voters and more of those independent voters. I actually spoke with a former Trump campaign official, and he said that when you are thinking about this immigration raids in Minnesota and all throughout the country, there's a shorter margin of error when you're going after enforcement, when people think you're going after gardeners and taco truck ladies. And so if there is kind of that broader operation, there needs to be a recalibration. This is what those Republicans are telling me and my colleagues.
Yeah, and Bo, now there is a possibility for a partial government shutdown over DHS and ICE funding. Do you think there's an issue Democrats have been able to capitalize on that might help them win some of those voters back in November?
They are trying to turn one of their faults and one of their sore spots in the 2024 election into a win column. However, when I was talking to Democrats, both on the Hill and those advising them, they are still worried that there is still not kind of a broad message on where the Democratic Party stands on immigration enforcement.
All right, Bo Erickson, we appreciate your time. Reuters U.S. politics correspondent. Still a lot of months, still a lot to track before election season. We appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you.
Meantime, threats against members of Congress are at an all-time high. That's according to U.S. Capitol Police. The news, part of a new report released the same day that a man tried to spray a congresswoman with some kind of substance at a Minneapolis town hall. It happened Tuesday when Representative Ilhan Omar was talking about the unrest in Minneapolis. Take a look. She was calling for ICE to be abolished when police arrested this man. Omar's staff said that she was uninjured. It is a federal crime to assault a member of Congress. And now we're getting a look at just how many times lawmakers on the Hill were threatened last year. For more context, investigative reporter Ted Oberg takes a look at the numbers.
Yeah, just as we were learning of the attack on Representative Omar last night, U.S. Capitol Police were releasing a disturbing assessment of the level of threat activity last year. Look at these numbers. They're not trending in the right direction. Last year, U.S. Capitol Police responded to nearly 15,000 threats, behaviors, and communications against members of Congress, their families, staff, or the Capitol itself. It is a 58% increase over the number of threats the year before. In response to those rising numbers over the last several years, the Capitol Police have opened actual Capitol Police offices in major cities across the country, increasing staffing and intelligence operations to deal with this volume. But they've also partnered with local police departments to protect members of Congress while they're in their home districts. Capitol Police now say they have more than 350 agreements with local police departments across our country. That number nearly tripled in the last 12 months. In a press release, as they released these disturbing numbers last night, the Capitol Police said decreasing violent political rhetoric is one of the best ways to decrease the number of threats across the country. It is worth noting here, in recent weeks, President Trump has criticized Representative Omar, called her garbage at one point a couple weeks ago, suggested last night she may have staged that incident against herself. Today, members of Congress from both parties condemned the town hall attack against her. But Mauricio, political violence, a huge problem in this country.
All right, Ted, thank you so much. Trend we don't like to see. All right, turning our attention now to our Storm Team 4 weather alert. Doug, those frigid, cold temperatures, some kiddos going back to class, some staying out. It's going to be tough for everyone just trying to navigate that.
Yeah, even with a 2-hour delay, I mean, just make sure the kids are really bundled up early tomorrow morning. We've got that cold weather advisory through the morning hours, so it's going to be a frigid day. I know D.C. public schools going back 2-hour delay tomorrow, but most of the schools out because of the fact we still got the snow on so many areas out there on the roadways. Out there right now, it is just a frigid night. You already know that. 24 degrees, not much wind, but even a 9-mile-an-hour wind gives us a wind chill of 14 degrees. Temperature-wise, already down to 12 in Gaithersburg, 21 Leesburg, 23 Manassas, 18 in Hagerstown. And look at the wind chill right now, down to 4 degrees in Hagerstown, 6 in Martinsburg, 17 in Manassas. A very cold night. Once again, for the third night in a row, we have a cold weather advisory that's in effect across the entire area. And that's issued when we have wind chills below zero. We saw it last night in some areas. We saw it the night before. We're going to see it again tonight. Take a look at this. Some snow showers. Yeah, we talked about this earlier. Maybe a couple of flurries coming through parts of our area as a little system is making its way through. That system, you can actually see it right in there. It's actually giving us a little bit more in the way of some colder air. It's just giving us that reinforcing shot. But not a whole lot going on across the country. What is going to be happening, this is on Friday now. We're going to start to see a storm developing down to our south and east in towards parts of North Carolina. North Carolina is going to get the hardest with this, as well as parts of southwest or southeastern Virginia. But this one, yeah, really is a swing and a miss for us. Now, could we see some snow here? Yeah, it's definitely possible. But the bigger aspect of this is going to be, as this storm moves to the north and east, the wind that comes behind it. This will be a blizzard along the coast. We could see 50-mile-an-hour winds over towards Ocean City with a couple of inches of snow. For us, maybe a little snow south and east of D.C., but the wind moves in, and we see wind chills in the single digits all day. How much snow? Well, this is one of the models, European model. Notice less than half an inch around the D.C. metro area. Nothing to the north and west. South and east, best chance for some accumulated snow, but it will not be much. Only an inch, 1.3 inches, Patuxent River. Could this come up a little bit? Yeah, we still got a couple of days to watch this. I think it might actually trend the other way. But the weekend storm, what are we looking at? Light snow, accumulation possible, south and east, but not a lot. Bitter cold and windy. That's the bigger story. Wind chills in the single digits during the day. So I actually think Sunday could be our biggest, or rather our coldest day so far this winter. And we've had a lot of coldest days so far this winter. 25 today, 25 yesterday, 25 today, rather tomorrow. Frigid on Friday. Saturday, there's a chance of light snow, windy and cold. On Sunday. Next week, we actually get into the 30s. Take a look at that 10-day forecast. Thursday coming in with a chance. High temperature only around 38 degrees. And yes, we will see a chance for some light snow there, but we got to get through the weekend first. But Mauricio, for those of us that are not ready for the snow.
All right.
This one right here, this snowstorm.
Woo!
Swing and a miss.
Swing and a miss.
Oh, I missed it. Never mind.
Yeah, I think it's in the parking lot. Doug, thanks so much. All right, still ahead, we got the winner of the Snow Stick Challenge. Hey, Tommy.
Hey, Mauricio. Let's put it in perspective. About 1,000 or more gold medals have been won by Team USA. A much more exclusive club, Pat Collins Snow Stick winners. We're going to meet the latest inductee into this exclusive, prestigious, and only in D.C. area kind of group. It's all coming up on News 4.
While we're still digging ourselves out of Sunday's snow and ice, some people had a lot of fun with it before the ice moved in by competing in the Snow Stick Challenge. And finally, the moment is here. Our first Snow Stick Challenge winner of 2026. We got Tommy McFly joining us. We've seen the finalists, Tommy. So who is getting the coveted Pat Collins Snow Stick?
It's the moment we've all been waiting for, and much love to the dozens and dozens of entries we got. People went out, they got so creative, and they brought that Snow Stick Games energy, but there can only be one. After the judging from Jumi, Millette, and Melissa, let's meet our latest Pat Collins Snow Stick recipient. I mean, when it comes to a theme of the Snow Stick Games, look at this. We got a very own bobsled, we got the Olympic torch, and we've got Mike and Kara Hawkins and Tenley in North Bethesda. It's my honor to give you a Pat Collins Snow Stick.
Amazing. We're so excited. We've had our eye on this thing for a very long time, so we were just so happy we finally got one of our own.
The picture was epic. What went into this process as you were building it, as the snow was falling?
It all started as an igloo. And then, when we heard about the challenge, Hawkins loves bobsledding, so he said, let's make a bobsled.
Well, yeah, we started off with a big pile of snow. Then we, carved it out. Then we saw something on TikTok about if you use a spray bottle and mix it up with food coloring, you could spray it on snow to make it kind of look like a real bobsled.
I love it. So what else do you know about bobsled?
That there's always about 3 or 4 people in the bobsled, and it's an Olympic sport.
The igloo was very time consuming. He worked so hard on it. That was really his masterpiece.
Yeah. If the snow stick didn't even happen, we're still gonna make the igloo.
And we'd look out through the window and he'd almost get done, and then the whole thing would cave in and his shoulders would slump, but he'd get back to work. He dug it out again. It all works out.
Like a true Olympian champion story. Was there a moment when you thought you would quit?
No, we were going to get it done. I knew the end result, and I knew I could get there, so we figured it out, and the kids were excited about it.
What is winning the coveted, cannot buy it, this is yours to be passed down to generations, Pat Collins Snow Stick?
We're excited to finally win one, and we'll display this in the house and use it every year.
The torch.
Yeah.
Half of the newsroom thought it might be AI. Half of us were like, no, that's absolutely real. How did you make the torch happen?
And all of our family and friends thought it was AI as well. That was really the thing we thought it needed. So I said, we got to do a torch, and I had this pot that we used for different stuff around the house, and I was like, let's just try to burn something out.
And while the flames of the games are still burning brightly, the Tabb family in North Bethesda, the recipient of our latest Pat Collins Snow Stick, congratulations.
Thank you very much. We're excited. Happy to finally have one of these.
Enjoy, and thanks a lot for getting involved. Look at this. The flames are still raging. You just love when someone who loves the snow stick gets the snow stick. Not the first time the Tabb family has been entering as well. And the question is, will we have another one of these? And I say, Mauricio, whenever there is stickable snow, like Frosty the Snowman, it will be back again someday.
I am so happy for that family that they got their deserved Pat Collins Snow Stick. It's not up to me if there's stickable snow. It's up to Doug Kammer.
That's right.
Hopefully there's other chances for folks to take part in the challenge. That'd be
I
great.
know there will be, and then that's when I will be activated and we'll make it happen again.
All right, Tommy, thanks so much. That's going to do it for the News 4 Rundown. We're back here for News 4 at 11. Take care.